Hi, I'm Norman A. Hood, financial advisor and host of the Exit Plan Show. I interview America's top advisors, like today's guest, Lee McGee of Warren Averett in Birmingham, Alabama, to help business owners enjoy more personal freedom, grow their companies faster, and transition ownership seamlessly when the time comes. Welcome to the show, Lee.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Could you start out and just tell our audience a little bit about your background and then your career path up until now?
Sure. Started out as a traditional CPA, went to work then in industry shortly after getting my CPA, then had the opportunity in industry to become a CFO, public company CFO, did a tremendous amount of merger and acquisition work, have worked with several different companies in that arena, and as a result, got involved with the private equity group that started some of those companies, and was also able then to perform acquisition work in acquisition of portfolio companies for a private equity company. So I'd say my specialty has been backgrounds in mergers and acquisitions, running those transactions and negotiating those transactions.
Okay. You and I just met. How do you think the people that know you the best, how do you think they describe you personally?
I thought a little bit about that because I know we had that as a question to begin with. I think professional, ethical, I've always thought that was extremely important over the years, to be trusted no matter what it is, because you can lose that overnight, but so it's very important. I think the people would see me as someone that friends of mine would say I would do anything to help them. I think passionate about my career, driven by my career, and then probably the most important thing, good father, husband, and good provider for a family. So.
Okay, good. Warren Averett, that's an accounting firm, right?
Right.
They're here in Birmingham and are
Yes, actually, fairly large accounting firm, headquartered in Birmingham, but Atlanta, Tampa, several offices in the Alabama area, Mobile, Montgomery, Alabama, Huntsville. So clients all over the Southeast, really, about 800 employees plus.
Wow, so big firm.
Yeah, big firm. And really, Warren Averett, not necessarily just your traditional accounting firm. Yes, evolved out of accounting, audit, tax, but Warren Averett has a lot broader services, everything from IT consulting, staffing services, transaction advisory services, which I'm in charge of for the firm, and even asset turnaround, business consulting. So I think Warren Averett tries to be more of a business advisor to its clients through all these avenues, as opposed to just being an audit or tax firm like many traditional CPA firms.
Okay. So you think that's what differentiates you from the other firms? Or
I think so, given the size particularly. Of course, you'd probably talk to the big four out there, and they'd say, well, we do a lot of that. But I think relative to the size of Warren Averett and the scope, probably not many like it as far as a regional firm.
Okay. As far as your specialty as a transaction advisor, is there any one particular part of that you like more than anything else?
You know, I think what it boils down to is because of my career and being on the acquiring side, dealing with sellers, and most of the time entrepreneurs or family-owned business founders, I think it's interacting with them and understanding the challenge that they may be only going through this once and as selling their business, and it's emotional, it's difficult. So for me, I think what I like best is being able to help them through it, even as an advisor now, as a client advisor. But I think historically, being on the other side and recognizing how difficult it was for a seller in many cases. So.
Yeah, because you've wore both hats.
Definitely wore both hats and watched how transactions can fall apart over non-business issues, but more emotional issues as a seller may run into in trying to sell their business. So I think that's what excites me about even being able to advise clients, because many times it's not about the deal structure and so forth. Sometimes it's the emotions that they're experiencing and can sidetrack a deal. So.
Okay. My last question is going to, bring in the emotional part. We try to help business owners with 3 or 4 things they're concerned about. Sometimes they're concerned that they need to take a little more time away from the business. They're kind of too involved and don't feel like they can take a week off or without their cell phone or their laptop or whatever. Sometimes they're trying to grow their company faster to get to some type of goal. Sometimes they're interested in transitioning the ownership either to a third-party sale or to a family member or a key employee group. And then more recently, we run into business owners that are having a hard time redefining their purpose after they leave their company. Their identity's built around their company. Sometimes they drag their feet and don't want to do a transition because they're afraid of that. If you could give them one tip in any of those 4 areas, what do you think it would be?
I think the tip on what you just highlighted, which is really go into it with a purpose on the other end. So, in other words, if I may feel like I need to exit because now's the time, and this particularly is an opportune time given the marketplace over the next few years and the money that's available. But knowing that you need something on the other side, identifying what that's going to be. Sometimes it's staying in the business, staying involved, but taking some money off the table. But if it's not that, it's what am I going to do next to utilize the resources I get from this transaction. So we find that a lot, and it's we counsel clients on make sure you know what you're doing next, because to your point, sometimes you think you've had a successful transaction, you got the amount of money you wanted, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to work where I was going to work. I don't have the employee base that I had, the people. I love the job. I love the interaction. I like to interact with clients. So now what am I going to do to replace that? And so we do a lot of pointing that out to people to say, let's look at what you really need to do on the other side.
Okay, great. Good interview. Good tip, too. That was Lee McGee. He's with Warren Averett. For more information about Lee and his firm, please check out the show notes for this episode on our website.